Hey everyone, welcome to Average Joe Preparedness. My name's Rick, and I'm an Average Joe. Okay, let's start off with the good news. As of me filming this video, the world hasn't come to an end. Yes, the bad news is, as of me filming this video, everyone is still being fairly silly. Yes, it just takes a couple minutes for me to go through my feeds and find out that the world hasn't changed. And for those people that have been here a really long time, I think I put that challenge out like 2 years ago that I was like, if anybody can tell me what's going to make things all better and make us join hands and sing Kumbaya, you know, to put it down in the comments. And yeah, still 2 years later, I still don't think it's going to happen. I am of the premise that things will continue in a downward trend. However, you still have to live your life. You still got to have fun. At least that's the way I see it. I still enjoy myself. I still do things like the holidays, by the way, the 4th, Happy Independence Day, or 4th of July, or whatever you guys do. Yeah, we had a good time. So if you're new here, first time here, or somewhere in that area, we start on basic emergency preparedness, which hardly anybody can argue about. And then we move to practical preparedness, which is a really big field, and that is dependent on the individual, each person, where they are literally in their journey of preparedness. And once in a while, rarely, do we touch on worst case scenarios, which is what, there's other channels for that. You know what I'm saying? Lots of channels for that. It seems to be selling lately. So yeah, not going there, but that's it. So let's start off with basic emergency preparedness, and then we'll get into some of this. Then we'll probably do some housekeeping, what I call housekeeping. Maybe we'll touch on some stuff up here. Yes? But basic emergency preparedness. I went over, I love doing this, by the way. I'll plug the video of, we were going through the lovely lady in my life's get home bag and her first aid kit, and there were some improvements to the first aid kit that she wanted. Yes? Yes. Now, I'm of the belief everyone should have first aid kits. You should have one in your house. You should have them in your cars. If you go hiking, I've showed you guys in our backpacks, we got the little boo-boo kits, and for bicycling, you know. So hopefully nobody's going to argue with that. A first aid kit is basic emergency preparedness, yes? And she wanted, for those of you guys who've seen the video, she wanted one of these. These are triangle bandages, which I didn't have. It doesn't look like a triangle, it looks like a square. Yes? And they come with, you see that? It comes with little clothespins. And I'm not plugging this company, that's why I got the back turned. Oh, you see it? I don't know who they are. But they do have the nice bandages, and they're not like the regular, there are some really thin, cheap ones out there. These are the kind that you make slings out of, but you can do other things. But follow-up, for those of you, I don't know, who follow on the channel all the time, you guys know what I'm talking about. She said she wanted them. I said I was going to get them, and I did. Yes? Yes. Okay, real quick, commercial interruption. There's like over, I think there's like over 500, maybe 550 subscribers. I want to welcome all the subscribers, and I appreciate you guys hanging out here once in a while and seeing what I got to say. Hopefully you guys understand that I'm just an average guy on my journey to preparedness. It sounds so cool, but basically I'm just living my life, and I'm just trying to survive and let normal average people know that they can do it, that they can do a few things. Maybe not build a bunker, which I don't have in my backyard, but there are things that can be done every day that don't have to be so far outside of your box. You know what I'm saying? Box, there we go. So far outside of your box that you can do things to set yourself up for success, that you can be prepared for things. Yes? So that's it. I just want to, again, commercial. Thank you for those of you who have subscribed. Thanks to you for those of you who have continued to come back. Yes? Yes. Okay, so besides that triangle bandage, which I'm going to put over here, which I'll put away. I'll put that away when we're done. She also asked for little, I'm going to say it wrong, I always do, little acetaminophenes, little packages that go like in the boo-boo kits, and they go in the first aid kits. You guys see these single dose? There's like 2 pills in there. Did you guys know? I'm not plugging Amazon, guys. Not plugging Amazon, but it's right there, so you can't miss it. But you can get these things with little packages. I put this with my big, I told you guys, I have larger caches, or I call them caches, of like medical supplies, and I use those to fill up the little kits that I have, and the larger first aid kits when I run out of stuff. But anyway, she wanted these, so I got them. And this is so cool. Did you guys know you could do this? Probably most of you be going, yes, Rick, we all knew you could do that. And I'll be the only guy going, I was then years old when I ordered it that you could do that. Yes, yes. But the reason I'm bringing it up is not because I just learned that you could get these things, or I'm plugging Amazon or acetaminophen or whatever the heck it is. It is something we've covered before. That is, if you want to adapt your stuff to you. She wanted that in her kits. She wanted it in, because she has a first aid kit in her car. She has a first aid kit in her backpacks. And she's like, I want this. It's like, okay, cool beans, I'll get it for you. So it's one of those things I try to touch on all the time is you start with something and then you make it yours, because it's worthless if it's made for someone else. And I'm going across the board when it comes to any kind of emergency preparedness or practical preparedness. Everything has to be geared towards you. My opinion, now everything I say is my opinion, guys. I'm not an expert in X or expert in Y. Yes, gone over that before. But please take that lesson away. Whatever it is that you're doing, make sure that it works for you. Yes? Yes. Okay, now for a follow-up on another thing. I told you guys I got that fan and I couldn't, it's in a video over here. I don't know if I'm gonna put it up there or not. That I'd gotten it and I didn't show it to you guys because I left it. So here it is. Now, again, I'm not plugging these guys. You see what I'm saying? I picked up a kit a long time ago. It was huge, had all this stuff, it was on sale, and I've been using these yard tools and stuff. You guys have seen this. If you've been around for years, you guys have looked in the background. You see the chargers, you know what I mean? If you guys pay attention to what's back here, I know somebody that does. There's at least one person. I'm just letting you know. There's at least one person. So I've been using their stuff for years and I haven't had problems with it. But the kit came with like a bunch of stuff, and I'll show you something else here in a second. And so this is the fan. Now, again, somebody tested and said off one battery it'd run for like 7 hours on low. And we were going over this when it came to how do you deal with heat when you don't have electricity. You guys remember that? I think there was another video on that too. The reason I bring it up, or I'm showing it to you guys, oh, by the way, let me just cross a T's and dots. Look at this. It's actually got a little plug. This is where the battery goes and it covers this up. But you can actually plug this into an extension cord and you don't actually have to use the battery. So that was kind of cool. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not selling these guys. I don't get nothing off of nothing. But if something's cool, I'm going to point it out. And I happen to have this. So it's going to, I'm going off camera. Put it back up there. Yay. And another thing, I don't know if I've ever shown you this before. This came in the original bag. Remember I said I got a bag with a whole bunch of stuff? And when it comes to emergencies, you want to have flashlights. Batteries can become an issue. Look at this big, huge battery. Anybody want to tell me? I mean, I guess I could test it if you guys want to know, but anybody want to tell me how long that flashlight's going to work? I'm just saying, I got a lot of batteries here too. So the point of this is you just never can tell. Now, people traditionally think of like emergency preparedness or practical preparedness. You need this kind of flashlight and this thing, but you might look around your house is my recommendation is look around. Things can have multiple taskings, multiple purposes, and then you just never know where you're going to get something that's just, I'd consider remarkable. Like I said, I wonder how long it's going to run off of one of those batteries. Anybody tested it? I don't know. If you guys want me to test it, let me know. I'll just plug it in, turn it on, and just leave it and see what happens. Not that anybody cares about this. I'm just messing with you. But I would do it if somebody asked. And hopefully if you guys have been here around for a while, you know I would. So the point is follow-up. I've seen content creators and I've seen videos and they say stuff. And there's always that, the way they say it, the way they do it, there's always something in the back of my mind. It's like, are they just talking? You with me? Just not exactly sure. So I figured I'd take the opportunity if I say something, if I can do a follow-up, just so you guys know. Yeah, Rick actually does those things. Got that. Yes? Okay, we're going to stay with basic emergency preparedness. I'm going under the premise that no one's going to argue that you need those, excuse me, an emergency kit for your car. Yes? And everybody's got what they want to have in it, and that's for discussion. We've gone over the list before. Yes? I think we have. I wonder if I'm going to plug another one. How many videos can I plug in this one? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to put it up there, guys. But we've gone over it before. And I take critiques, constructive criticism, and I've mentioned that. I'm willing to take constructive criticism as long as it's constructive and you guys say it right. You know, don't be jerks, those keyboard warriors. You know what I'm talking about. And someone took a look at the jumper cables that I had, and I have the same ones in the lovely lady in my life's car and in my car. And they said something like, you should probably get better ones. Now remember, I'm an advocate initially of good enough. I always believe it's better to have something versus nothing. So something is better than nothing. And there's an argument out there, and both sides have valid points. I'm just letting you know the one I go with. You could go with something else. So something is better than nothing. Yes? But that being said, can you guys see it? This is the new ones. Now, I've already put one in the lovely lady in my life's car. I ordered two. This one's going to go in my car. And I don't know if you guys can tell with the video, but this one is a thicker gauge. This one's 4 gauge. If you guys know about gauges, the smaller the gauge, the larger the thing. So anyways, that's 4 gauge. This was like 8 gauge, actually. And I get online because you can find anything. And, you know, like AAA or whatever, automotive places, and they recommend what the gauge should be for your jumper cables. And also length. I don't know if you guys can tell. This one, it's all wrapped up and looks nice, is way longer than this one. They recommend 20 feet, which is what that is. And they recommend the gauge, give or take, around 4, which is what that is. Yes? Yes. Now, sooner or later, I might have gotten around to it. But I'm a busy guy, and I got a lot of stuff going on. But someone mentioned it in the comments that I should get a bigger one. I was like, hey, man, I'm sure it was somewhere on my list. Yes? But I appreciated the fact. And this kit, by the way, and again, I'm not selling it. And oh, that reminds me. On my last video, or the video before, I was talking about the DIY fertilizer I make, and I said I'm not selling it. Let's be perfectly clear, I don't sell anything. What I mean by selling it is I'm not an advocate for it, or I'm not sometimes actually selling it, but I'm not actually gonna sell it. You see what I'm saying? Like, send me $29.95 and I'll get you. No, that's not what I meant. I meant I don't have enough information on it to actually put it out there, the recipe for you guys, and that I feel confident enough in it. But eventually I will, because it seems to be working well. Yes? Yes. But let's get back to these jumper cables. I'm not selling, what I mean is this particular brand. I got nothing, I got no investment. I got no investment in it. But what I did like was, it comes with gloves, even though my car has gloves. It comes with a little brush to clean off the things, even though I have that. And it comes with a bag that you store everything in. I thought that was kind of cool. Yes? And I don't often see this, and maybe it's just because I miss it, but it literally, I didn't practice this. Edit your videos better, Rick. No. Oh, no. Maybe I should this one. Nope, not going to do it. It literally comes with instructions on how to do it. Yes? You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people out there that don't know how. So, hold on, going off screen. Woo. Whoop. Drop my readers. So, you'd be surprised there's a lot of people that don't know. Anyways, I just thought it was pretty cool. Bringing it up, want to remind you people that I actually do listen, and to remind you that you should. You should probably keep the things on your list, but then when someone reminds you, you might want to take advantage of it. It might be the universe talking to you. Yes? Yes. Okay, I think that's about all the little things I'm going to touch on for basic emergency preparedness since my last video. Now we'll move to practical preparedness. Yes, had to work on the lovely lady in my life's car again. And it's not that big of a deal, just had to change out a hose. But did you realize I got an estimate to change out one radiator hose? Now, don't get me wrong, you got to refill it back up with the fluids, and you got to burp it and do all that good kind of stuff. But did you know they wanted $250 to change out one radiator hose? Yes, it wasn't that difficult. And it was just, it was wearing, doesn't matter. I did it. But the point being is, in my book, practical preparedness is getting skills and learning how to do things on your own and using that money somewhere else, or using that money to pay off bills. Finances, I plug it every single time, guys, get out of debt. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. It's real life. I figured I'd bring it up. Try to get yourself some skills, because it's going to save you some money. And who doesn't like money? Speaking of money, everything costs more, and it doesn't seem to be trending down. Yes? So I haven't plugged money for a while. The economy is what it is. I'm not exactly sure if you guys are following that we got a break from the Fed hikes, interest rates, but they said they're going to do it again at least 2 more times this year, which isn't going to make anything any better. So if you haven't started working on your finances, I highly recommend you do it. It's never too late, okay? People say it's too late for stuff. It's never too late, okay? The only thing that's too late is when you don't do it. You with me? Now, don't get me wrong. The earlier you start, the better off you'll be, but that's not the point. People get like frustrated and they just draw a blank. No, it's too late for me to do it. It's not too late. It's never too late. So please, and I'm talking about everything, starting with basic emergency preparedness, your finances, learning skills, everything. It is not too late. If I could convince you of that, it would be Awesome. Okay, let's do updates on the garden. This might be a little long. We'll wait and see. And then, by the way, if you guys want, I could take the camera out there and show you in case you, again, you guys got that feeling like I have when I watch people's videos where I'm like, I'm not actually sure they actually do the stuff they say. And that's why I try to show you guys stuff that I actually do what I say, if that makes sense. And so hopefully there's a trust. Like, you guys are going to trust me. I'm on a video on YouTube. Seriously, guys? Come on now. But anyway, so you trust. But I'm going to give you an update on the garden. If you guys want, I mean, I could do another video and take you guys out there. But, I mean, I don't have a really cool camera and all that kind of stuff. So it would be what it would be. You guys picking up what I'm laying down? So think before you answer that question. Okay, starting over here and working our way back. My old bed that's right here, it is full of... Did I mention that I killed my... I'll think of the herb here in a second. Let me not talk about it and then it'll come to me. Oregano, that's what it is. I killed my oregano plant after like 3 years. If anybody grows oregano, how long are they supposed to live? I mean, I won't feel bad if they're supposed to live like 3 years or 4 years. I think that's how long it was. Or I am going to feel bad if I just killed it. Yes? So it finally died. I was like, oh man, that sucks. But anyways, the garlic. Did you guys know that you're supposed to plant garlic in the fall and then it comes around in summers when it's done? So they're actually starting to die. So, but I haven't pulled any out because I haven't needed it. And so what happens if you leave a bulb plant in for another year? That's right, it'll split and get bigger and put off little things. So hopefully eventually in a couple of years, I mean, I got a decent bed right now. I think there's like 6 or 8. So hopefully it'll just keep going. Yes? Yay. I have onion chives next to that, which I don't know if I could actually kill. I don't know. I planted some radishes. They're doing well. I planted 3 different kinds of, I think it's 3 different kinds of lettuce and at least 2 different kinds of spinach in this bed. And they are all doing really well. It makes me happy. The asparagus, for those of you who've been around for a long time, is doing good. The older bush, obviously putting off more than the younger bush. And they're starting to do the fern thing, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So that did well. Then my next middle bed right here, I planted a bunch of old seeds. And it was like, what did I do? I think I did a little bit of carrots and a little bit of lettuce, I think is what I did out there. But I did old seeds because what the hell, I'm going to get rid of them. And I planted them later. So this lettuce and stuff is going to grow, then this stuff will grow, and then that stuff will grow, if that makes sense. So that there's a constant harvest. Yes? Yes. But I planted old seeds. I'm getting rid of my seeds. And yeah, so I don't know, maybe, I don't want to exaggerate, maybe 20% of the seeds came up. But that's okay because moving over here to this bed, the one I always put the cucumbers in, the cucumber, I got 1 plant coming up that's about yay long. I got 2 more plants I planted later on, and they're just starting because I want things to stagger. It's the way I like to do things. So those are doing well. And then next to them, again, old seeds, I had planted some lettuce and I'd planted some carrot. And there's just a few coming up, maybe 10%. But then what I did was in between in that bed and the next, or half bed, and the next half bed over, I did a seed dump. So all the open seeds that I have, all the older seeds that I had, I just put them in there. And now they're just coming up. I'm gonna have to thin them out. And I'm going under the premise, once again, it's probably only about 20% of the seeds. However, I planted so much, I'm gonna need to thin them out. Yes? Yes. There's somebody out there right now that's probably critiquing me, and that is just fine. What I do for me to learn. That's what I do. I plant things in different areas so I know how they're going to grow. I plant them in different depths, even though it's got instructions on the back of the pack. Because I can afford to, not because they don't cost that much, but not because I have lots of money. I can afford to because I have time. I am learning to grow things under not optimal conditions. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't always get them at 1/8 of an inch or exactly. I plant different because I want to see what they're going to do. I want to see what succeeds and what fails because I have the time right now. I hope you guys are picking that up. Yes? So that's why I do it. So anyways, I did a seed dump over here. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming up. And I got peppers and I planted some other seeds, which aren't coming up. It's the tomatoes coming up very late. We'll wait and see what happens. What else did I do over here? And I think I threw down some sunflower seeds. Yep, sunflower seeds. I planted them all over the place, and I planted them late because supposedly sunflower seeds, you can plant them late. And we're going to find out. Yes, because again, I want to know. And I want to know if they'll grow here, 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 here. Different areas. different shades, different access to water, different access to wind. It's what I do. If you've been around for a while, you know that. So we'll go over here. That blueberry bush, that one blueberry bush that lived, it's doing well. It hasn't produced any berries, but I think it's coming back for me, almost killing it, the one that didn't die. So it's getting big. My strawberries. I don't have the fall harvest ones. I have like the year-round ones, or they have another name for them. And like many people on the internet, I am telling you right now, they stink. They don't work well. I'm gonna have to plant another strawberry patch and get the ones that just do it once a year. Yes, because with those, I wanted to see how it would work. And the idea of them randomly producing strawberries all year sounded good. But you know what? It ain't working. Okay, and then I threw down some potatoes up here by the house, which is what I did last year or the year before, which I got the biggest harvest. Along the fence, if you guys have been here before, you guys have seen the videos of me going out there and showing you. I planted more potatoes, more sunflower seeds. My green beans are going great. I just planted the second set. So the first one's all the way up the fence, one's about halfway up the fence. So I planted the second set and we'll see what happens. The corn that I transplanted, and oh man, I might end up showing you guys some stuff because corn needs a lot of nitrogen. And I'm learning as I go over the years. I've been planting corn for years, guys. And that's why you do the green beans corn thing. You can grow them together. Or what I've been doing is where I grow the corn, the next year I grow green beans, and where I grow the green beans, I grow corn. And I can tell you this, the corn I planted that is in where the green beans were last year is doing well. I transferred a couple little corns over to where the green beans are now, where the corn was last year, and they ain't doing so well. Now my hope is the green beans are growing, they're not right next to it, I guess they are. The green beans that are growing and the next green beans that are coming up, and those will help those two little stalks of corn. Because total, I've only got 6 things of corn growing. 2, which I transferred over late, and they're with the green beans, and the 4 that are where the green beans were last year. And someone might say, that's it, Rick? 6 stalks of corn? Yes, 6 stalks of corn. Because all I'm doing is learning how to grow corn. I've mentioned it before. I do stuff on a micro, I can easily take it and turn it into a macro, but I need to know how to do it to increase my success rate. And I've also mentioned that I don't waste, and the corn, whether it does corn or not, oh, and I found out how to, we'll talk about that some other time. Whether the corn does well or not, I use the corn stalks to decorate for Halloween. It goes out here in front in our, we have like a graveyard thing every year. Yes? Yes. So yeah, I was this year's old when I learned how to pollinate corn. Did you know the hairs that come out of the top of a corn, a cob of corn? Did you know each one of those is connected to the little kernels, and each one of those needs to be pollinated? I didn't know that, and now I know how to do it. So this year and I had cobs of corn, but they had blanks, you know, and so this year I learned how I'm going to self-pollinate the corn, because it's supposed to be done by wind, and yeah, it works in big fields because there's so many, but it doesn't work when you just do small amounts. I wasn't aware of that. Again, and somebody might be laughing right now, going, Rick, you've been growing corn for like 4 years? You saying you're just figuring this out? Yeah, I am. You know, let's be honest about it. If you want to laugh at my expense, that's fine. What I'd rather you do is learn at my expense. You don't learn everything about every plant overnight, and it may take you time to figure out how to do things. It did me, admittedly. Okay, next to the corn, I planted 1 each. I planted a zucchini, a summer squash, a watermelon, and a cantaloupe. And they're all coming up. I don't know how well they're going to do. They're probably planted too close together. I didn't do it for the crop. I did it to see if they would grow in that area. Some people might say, well, that's silly, Rick, but it's not silly to me. And then I have, over here, I also planted more of the same, and I have a zucchini bush. It's like this big. I didn't know. I thought zucchini, it looks like a zucchini. I hope that's what it is. I didn't mark it. But I thought zucchini was more of a vine plant, and it's not. It's a round one. The leaves are similar to like a pumpkin plant, you know, the big like elephant ear leaves, but it's just growing round. And I have it kind of up against the fence, but I can see a zucchini on it. So we're going to see how well that does this year. And the one pumpkin plant. All right, let's talk about the pumpkin plant. If you've been here before, I told you that pumpkin, the plant that's growing, That's actually from a seed that's been sitting out there for 2 years that I just dug it up, or it just decided it was going to grow. And it was probably a year old before that. So it was a year old before the seed, before I put it in the ground. It was sitting out in the ground, and it's not great ground out there, for 2 years, just sitting there until the right thing happened, that enough moisture, I was digging over there, and it just decided to grow. And I told you, the seeds from those pumpkins I'm keeping, because those sons of guns probably grow anywhere. You know, now it might take them like 2 or 3 years, but we'll wait and see. So I got a decent sized pumpkin right now. It's like that big. And I learn more about pumpkin. Each year I learn more. Like the main vine, I need to start cutting that back. Once it hits between 10 and 12 feet, I need to cut it back. Secondary ones at 6 to 8 feet. And tertiaries, cut them all off. Did you guys know that? Yeah, I didn't. I do this year. Again, if there's gardeners out there that happen to be seeing this and you're laughing at me, I got no issues. But I have mentioned before, and I will mention it again, it takes years to learn how to grow one thing, like a tomato plant. It takes years to learn how to do it well. And in which case it takes years to learn how to do corn and years how to do pumpkins. You need to start now. I've been growing for years and I'm still learning stuff. And I would like to think that anybody who gardens would say the same thing, that they're always learning. So now they may be learning bigger things than what I'm learning. I'm just learning these basic things, but not the point. I'm learning without going to school, without taking classes. I mean, hard knocks. This is looking stuff up, reading books. Yes? Yes. So what are we moving on from there? I got some potatoes in the back. We're going to see what happens. I put some potatoes in the buckets. Ho, ho, ho. Come on. Those who've been around for a while, you know I'm going to do buckets, and I did. And you also know that I am terrible at it. So we're going to see how it goes this year. I drilled some more holes in it. I put some bigger, like, I'm going to call it mulch, but big pieces of wood down at the bottom to help with the drainage. And I don't know, guys. You've been here before. I'm not even going to plug those videos. There's videos of me embarrassing myself when it comes to growing potatoes in buckets. But I'm going to try it again. Then I have a patch of potatoes. Oh, and then it's a little too late for this season. We'll use it next season. I have a couple bales of hay, which I've stacked on top of each other. They're in the back, and they are going to be for Carol, my mother-in-law, who lives down in the basement. Doesn't matter, long story. If you guys haven't seen the videos, probably not going to plug it because she's older and she can't bend down into a garden. So I got 2 bales of hay. I'm going to plant stuff there so she can walk up to it, and it's about this height. Yes? Plus, I'm going to find out what you can and what you can't grow in bales of hay. We'll find out. Yes? I know you guys are all just waiting. All right, as much as I can think of, I think that's an update on the garden. We'll see how it goes. We're eating, like right now, I can just go out, I eat lettuce and spinach. Just pull them off, make salads. I pull them off, I put them on my sandwiches for lunch. They're constantly there. And then, since I planted different kinds, some are growing faster than others. So the ones that are going to seed, which I'm going to save the seeds, and then other ones are coming up, and then the next ones are coming up, and then these ones are going to come up. So a lot of people might not want to eat lettuce and spinach all the time, but just to let you know, it can add to things. And if nothing else, you can get it so that I'm eating it constantly. And it's healthy for you because it's organic, non-GMO. You know what I'm saying? It's good for you. But yeah, I got lettuce and spinach all the time. Life is good. Yes? Now if I could just do that with everything else where I could constantly eat food. Yay! But that's not the way. All right, moving on. One last thing, and we're going to call this quits because this thing's been going on for a bit. Make sure it's going to be one last thing. When it comes to basic emergency preparedness and when it comes to practical preparedness, now we've talked about first aid kits. I'm pretty sure I've done videos on them. Don't know if I want to put it there. We just talked about it earlier in this video. But if I may recommend, just having a first aid kit is good. It's good enough. You can start with good enough. But I'd highly recommend getting training. Yes? And a good place to go, not plugging them, but I guess I am going to plug them. And that is the Red Cross. Some people may agree, some people may disagree. And then you can get things. Do you guys actually notice I have books up here? Doesn't matter. Red Cross, basic first aid. You guys with me? You can take the training classes. You can order stuff online from them. You can get with your local area. The Red Cross is almost always doing things in areas. Sometime during the year, they're going to be around you, and you can get some training from them. Yes? Yes. And I think it's a really good place to start when it comes to basic first aid. Now, for those of you I always said we're going to touch a little bit. Okay, so I am. We're going to go, I would think practical preparedness. Practical preparedness also, maybe basic emergency preparedness would be maybe the first aid kit. Practical preparedness would probably be about getting training. Yes? But let's go up here. You can always, if any of you guys have been around preparedness for a while, you guys have probably heard of this book, Where There Is No Doctor. Yes? If you actually read it, it's pretty cool. It's for people who have volunteered to take up that role in less developed countries. Yes? I wouldn't use this on a day-to-day basis. But it's good to have a library. So if you're moving in this direction, that's actually probably like right up here, because I think that's about the only time you're going to use that book. It's probably good to be familiar with it in case of a serious emergency, but not for basic emergency preparedness. So tie a bow, basic emergency preparedness, get yourself a first aid kit. Modify it to you, get it for what you need. And then you're moving into practical preparedness when you do that. Practical preparedness, get some first aid training. Just Google first aid training near me. And I'm sure besides the Red Cross, there's gonna be other organizations that are probably gonna pop up depending on where you live. And then for those of you that are moving over here, I might still be in practical preparedness, get yourself a library. And people go digital, okay, I got no issue with it. I like things I like paper, and there's lots of stories about why I'm not a big fan of only digital, but a digital backup is just fine. And then if you guys want to get up here and you're looking way down the road, and if you can get it for like a good deal, it didn't cost that much, and I'm always looking for a good deal, yes, is When There Is No Doctor, and add that to your library, yes? For you guys here, you can look towards the future, and maybe that's something. If you guys have any recommendations, these are the ones that I have. I don't know, maybe you guys know more. I'm always willing to learn. All right, guys, I think that's enough rambling for today. Hopefully I kept you up to speed. Oh, 4th of July. Hopefully you guys had fun. We had friends come in for the holidays. We did the fireworks stuff out here. The grandkids were doing well, and we had food and stuff. And oh, look, some stuff up in the sky. And I'm an advocate of enjoying your life. I've mentioned it before. One of the reasons for basic emergency preparedness, practical preparedness, whatever, one of the basic things about being prepared is to make your life more comfortable for those things that can happen, and build your confidence and happiness in your life. Yes, so that you can actually enjoy life. And yeah, the 4th of July was an opportunity, and had friends and family and grandkids and fireworks and had a good time. Yes, and I hope, however you celebrate, that's up to you guys. I hope you had a good time too. Yes, yes. With that, I hope this finds you well. I hope you are happy. I hope you're staying positive, and I hope for whatever it is that life brings you, you are being prepared.